to lead the world in manufacturing requires the most desirable design form language. And the best and most desirable industrial design form language is inspired by the best concept and is strategically true to that concept. The best concept for American industry is the American way. Now, the father of the American way is Thomas Jefferson, who codified for all time that human sentience is equally sacred. All human sentience, equally sacred. Beautiful words. Adam Smith, the great moralist who gave us the theory of moral sentiments, created a platform for individualist effort for free will to flourish by small groups of like-minded folks getting together to pursue a common love. His moral ideology was grounded in this concept of doing for the love of the doing. It was non-materialist. The American way is non-materialist. It is principled individualism, nurturing the actualized existence. Ayn Rand wrote with great eloquence about the confrontation of the individualist and the collectivist, but she was a materialist. Therefore, one must, in exploring her great eloquence, be mindful that when you look at the totality of a work, that it is skewed as toward this concept of interpreting Adam Smith as someone who was really lobbying for a personal ingratiation. The point of Smith's writing was not that that we labor for our personal gain, but that we give. It is the joy of the giving and the love of the giving that is gratifying. The system, the American system, is the institutional elitist establishment which formulates and tends to expand its power. The great creator of the system, Secretary-Treasurer Alexander Hamilton, gave us the first internal tax, which was levied against the backcountry whiskey makers. It incited the Whiskey Rebellion in the late 1700s. It was levied on behalf of the East Coast larger distillers of whiskey to essentially put the smaller businessmen out of business. Later, he worked toward this fusion of big business and big government, which we all now know and we live through with the Henry Paulson $800 billion giveaway to his friends on Wall Street. And the effect on industrial design of the way versus the system is really where Confederate motorcycles has focused its energy. If we look at this 1948 Cadillac two-door sedanette, this is a machine that was the brainchild of Hurley Earl working for General Motors. It is a motor car that is a great example of the time in America when the American way was indeed dominant. The heads of the five families at General Motors, from the beginning of the company, Chevrolet, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Buick, and Cadillac, they got together every morning and had a meeting. And in this meeting, they would discuss one thing. And it was, how do we make the best automobiles? It was the entire focus of the company. And at that time, if you look at what we created, and I have a few examples, here's the 49 Chevrolet and the 1950 Bentley Continental. Bentley acknowledged it. They copied the Chevy. It was the world's most expensive car in the world, this Bentley Continental. But they copied the American Way design to create this Bentley Continental because we were the clear leader in design at that time. At Ford, this is the Gregory 1949 Mercury and the Walker 1949 Ford. Two designers, Henry Ford's grandson was running the company, and in a very grandiose example of non-materialism, he couldn't determine which design he liked the most, so he did them both. At Chrysler, we have Virgil Exner, the X-Man, my personal favorite designer. Mr. Exner made the most romantic designs of all, I believe, in the mid-50s. This is the 55 300C, the first muscle car, the 57, and then his Plymouth. Here, after Harley Earl's retirement, is we have Bill Mitchell becomes the lead designer at General Motors. And these Corvairs are really the magnum opus of his work. What you're looking at here is modular, utilitarian minimalism at its absolute finest. Today, the most storied designer is Walter da Silva, the former Alfa Romeo design chief who worked at Audi and now has taken over the Volkswagen Group. I think it's interesting to point out at Audi that the car that spawned their new line was the TT, which was created on a napkin by Freeman Thomas while he was with J. Mays, who are two American Way designers now at Ford. But this body of work at the end of the American Way dominant period actually makes Audi look a little bit amateurish and just a touch insincere. June of 1958, the weight and the inertia of the system took root at the greatest corporation in history, General Motors. And the heads of the five families were directed to change the itinerary and to only think as a priority about how to make the most money on Chevys, Pontiacs, Oldsmobiles, Buicks, and Cadillacs. So after 182 years of American Way dominance, we see the completion and the shift to the Hamiltonian vision of the American system. And let's take a look at how this impacts what we see in industrial and mechanical design. It is not long after this time, a mere 24 years, that we have the standard of the world attempting to compete with the German 3 Series BMW with this Cimarron, which is not even a good version of a very inexpensive Chevrolet, and of course this is probably the most famous of all mistaken industrial design projects, this Pontiac Aztek. After these pieces were done, and things looked like they were on the ropes for General Motors, what they did is they brought in a gentleman named John Smale, who was a Procter & Gamble executive. Essentially, they doubled down on the American system ethos and philosophy, which really is a system of chicanery, of hucksterism. And so it became even more about faux branding, distribution, packaging, and marketing. And a short 20 years from the time that Mr. Smale took over, we have the General Motors bankruptcy. And the establishment appointment, the governmental appointment of the CEO and chairman of General Motors, a gentleman named Atkinson, what he said in one of his early interviews was this. He said that we need to be more consumer-driven and not engineering-driven. He was drinking a can of Diet Coke at the time, and he said, what we make is like a can of soda pop. It just costs $30,000. So I think that's self-explanatory as to what the system has wrought. And now the complication is that the American system doesn't actually have a core competency. It is like the vinyl roof on the Cadillac, or the fake wood, or the fake hubcap. It's just a trick. It's marketing. It is devoid of substance. And we know where it leads. The system leads to the oceanic landfill the size of Texas that we now have. Just a lot of junk, leaving us as the subjects of this system feeling hopeless and empty with our materialism and our consumerism. The resolution to the complication of the American system is to return to American way dominance. And this is what we at Confederate Motorcycles have worked to express, is our desire through the art of rebellion to reaffirm and redefine the American way and to make it dominant in our culture and society again. The art of rebellion begins with the most macho word, the most explosive man-machine interface, the purest true-to-concept anti-establishmentarian rebellion inspired by the American way, elevating and transforming the great American road bike experience, resulting in the craftsmanship of amazing handcrafted motorcycles and a lot of fun for a small band of zealots that have given everything they have without regard for personal gain and money. The new Hellcat that we have that we have just completed has the lightest, stiffest, toughest, drag race inspired chassis architecture, spinning the lightest driveline from the heaviest flywheel located at the center line vertical and horizontal axis of the motorcycle, powered up with the fattest pistons pushing through the longest stroke, making the greatest amount of torque as a percentage of weight of any machine by far ever made. Specified to have perfect American road bike geometry and an uncompromised bill of materials. Organically lean, muscular, raw, primal, and avant-garde, possessing immediate crushing power like the most robust animal in all of nature. the experience of riding the machine is like you shot out of a cannon riding a rhinoceros who is a professional ballerina. The hope from this experience, which we call motoring veritas, is that over time, as you tame this thoroughbred machine, that your inner essence, the dark void in your soul will become closer and closer and more united to that heavy flywheel at the vertical and horizontal centerline axis of that drag race chassis. And as this happens, as you become more bonded and at one with the machine, your pride is diminished, and your humility is illuminated. And through this process comes the letting go of materialism, personal ingratiation, thoughts of self-embiggening of the ego, and all the fears and anxieties that drive these forms of bias. And we will return to what the American way really represents and what it can give us, and that is a very definitive core competency. The American way nurtures diverse, individualist, creative genius. And when we get back on that track, then we'll have machines like we used to have. The globe awaits. There's a global market for American way design. There's unbridled passion, unmitigated desire to acquire our manufactured pieces based upon the American way form language. And incrementally, I know we're going there, and when it happens and we can finally let go of the consumer culture that we journeyed on sometime around that 1958 period, as we get back on track, it's going to be a glorious outcome for all of us. Thank you very much.